Hello everyone. This is a video I have been dreading to do, honestly, because it just makes me sad, and I knew that it would take a lot of research, which would probably result in me again becoming very sad because of the situation. You obviously clicked on this video because you want to know more or you want to do something to help the current crisis of the environment. And it shocks me, actually. I do a lot of polls on my Instagram, and it shocks me how a lot of people don't know some of the biggest killers to the environment. Um, and I'm very proud to be part of a generation that actively changes, makes big lifestyle changes to protect the environment. But I do just want to tell you what the biggest factors against the environment are, just to make you aware of them, so we can be more conscious if and when we are doing these things. So the first and most important threat to the environment is what a lot of people don't realize, and it's not fossil fuels, it's not even meat, it's fast fashion. Now, you're probably thinking, what? Think of how many adverts for clothing you see a day, how many different trends come out so quickly, how many different styles there are, how many different hauls there are, especially on things like YouTube, how many collabs between different designers or influencers or celebrities, how many people tag a lot of their clothing in their pictures, which I'm guilty of before I knew about the situation. So I'm not making this video to be aggressive, because I'm not perfect for the environment, and I do some of these things that are not good that I'm going to mention. But that's why it's so sad, because it's things that are in our everyday life that unfortunately is hard for us to stop doing. Now, I want to be straight up with you, because there's no point of us tiptoeing around things at all. What I'm wearing is part of fast fashion. It's a Vera Moda cardigan that I got from ASOS. I got it because I'm starting a new job soon and I want some things more professional. So I did
a little ASOS order, and I got myself a turtleneck, I got myself a white top, I got myself this, some comfy shoes, like some comfy black shoes, and a dress to wear for work. So,
being honest, that is me participating in fast fashion. I may try and excuse it by saying I had a purpose, like a new job, but really I didn't need any of this stuff. Granted, I didn't have a cardigan like this to keep me warm. I normally just wrapped a scarf around me. But again, that's something I'm embarrassed about, but I'm not going to tell you that I don't participate, because I do. And up till very recently, I participated in fast fashion a lot before I kind of accepted that I couldn't do that anymore, especially being someone on a social media platform that preaches about the environment. It was very hypocritical of me to keep participating knowingly in things like fast fashion when I know what the effects of it are. So I've written all my notes on my phone, so I'm going to start off by just talking about textiles. So textiles are mass produced, and they have toxic dyes and chemicals to stain the different fabrics, to create the different fabrics. And a lot of this is produced in countries which do not have laws against like ethical ways to, like ethical places to put their waste. And a lot of it just goes in, all of it goes in landfill or the ocean directly, because these countries that the Western companies choose to operate in are very cheap, and they don't have to worry about things like waste, or even the workers. Like, the workers are put through so much horrible things, and that's a big thing why I couldn't participate in fast fashion anymore, because I was thinking, if I was born in a place like where I was disadvantaged just because I was born there, and I had to work in these conditions just because I had to, I was being forced to, or I had to feed my family, I would expect, as soon as someone who was like buying from this company, as soon as they knew what was happening to these humans, that they would stop and they would do something about it to help these humans. And unfortunately, a lot of people know how these clothes are made and they don't stop. And I'm a prime example of that. I didn't stop. And I've known about how these clothes are made for years and I never stopped. And I'm really trying to live as a really good example for, as like a mother, for one day when I have children. I don't want to be a hypocrite. And there's no way I can raise a child in this world knowing that I'm putting another child through something by having clothes that I don't need or buying clothes that I don't need. So yeah, that was another reason why I stopped doing fast fashion. And that's just another kind of inhumane topic that kind of links in with it, because all of these environmental factors happen because these companies are not humane, and we need to embrace our humanity a bit more. The textiles industry is a big factor, especially because it's produced in, a lot of it's in the East, because of the cheap labour, the lack of laws for waste, for things like that. It's cheap for the companies to make their products over there. So obviously it has to be shipped and transported back to the West, which causes obviously fossil fuels in that. And think of the mass scale that this is on. It's on a true, I can't even comprehend mass scale. And that is why fast fashion is very, very bad for the environment. Things we can do to get around this. I'm a prime example now. I'm actually living to be a better person. Is I kind of have a fashion blog on Instagram, and I take a lot of clothes from those around me to create these creative ideas. So like my boyfriend, his whole wardrobe is probably on my Instagram feed right now. And you'll start to see that I'm reusing a lot of the same pieces to show you that you don't have to wear something once to look good in it. You can wear it in multiple different ways. And I'm starting to actually appreciate the multiple use of a single item more, and I think that's so beautiful. And I think it's more embarrassing when things are given a single use, personally. Obviously, you can go to things like charity shops, donate to other people, swap with your friends, sell. Things like Depop, Etsy, again, is a really good place to support in local businesses where everything is kind of more ethically sourced, and you can still get really good quality, if not better. I know I used to work at Urban Outfitters when I was a teenager, and no, not when I was a teenager, I was 19. And one of the managers told me there was a 90% profit margin. And I know a lot of teenagers and young people come in and say,
oh, I only shop here because the quality is really good.
And some of the t-shirts, especially the Urban Outfitters own t-shirts, cost like pence to make. And really I'm not slagging Urban off on its own, because they're only doing this because everyone else is doing it and they want to be in the game. So honestly, quality, quality in fashion products are scarce nowadays. So don't buy something for quality unless it's something that's like a necessary thing. Like my excuse for this was that it keeps me warm, and I didn't have anything like that to keep me warm. But yeah, so that was my fast fashion thing. I don't really want to go into too much detail. I think I've kind of said enough. Fast fashion is the number one killer to the environment. So it's something really simply that we can lessen a lot. Definitely lessen. I'm not saying you have to stop it, because going cold turkey isn't the way to solve things, especially if you want a healthy mind as well. If you want to stop it completely, then do. But please just stop the quantity that you are buying fast fashion, because you are beautiful the way you are. What you're wearing does not change that at all. Your whole exterior does not define your beauty any way at all whatsoever. And stop participating in fast fashion really changed how I viewed myself and actually how I viewed others, and how it was actually quite a quick process to how materialism quickly wasn't the thing that made me happy anymore. And I found more enjoyment in other parts of my life. So it's good for your mind as well as the environment and your pocket. Okay, the next one I'm going to move on to is something I do want you to watch, please. And it's meat. Is the second biggest killer to the environment is meat consumption, especially red meat, especially beef. Now, we are all aware of what's happening in the Amazon recently, and the biggest cause of that is meat. The Amazon rainforest is primarily being destroyed for space, for crops, for animals to eat, to be force-fed, to be precise, and then we get to eat the animals. So it's not like it's an ethical way for the animal to eat. It's not oh yay, we're ensuring all the animals are fed and healthy. It's not like that. They're being force-fed, and their lives are ending very quickly. They're being pumped with hormones and chemicals, which again we are ingesting, and it's not good for us. Red meat is not good for our bodies whatsoever. I understand that white meat can have benefits to our body, but in the long run it's not good for your body, and it's definitely not good to eat every single day. So deforestation is probably the biggest part of meat, and obviously they need more area to actually rear the animals, not that the animals are given very much room. But yeah, that's happening. That's the main reason why the Amazon has probably caught on fire, because a lot of deforestation is through burning illegally, but burning so these companies don't have to chop down these trees, don't have to pay the labourers, and they get all this space for free. It is illegal, but it happens, especially with palm oil. That happens, but I'll get onto that later. And then obviously these animals, especially cows, release a lot of toxic gases, especially when they're being pumped with chemicals and hormones, which are unnatural to their bodies. They produce a lot of gas, which is not good for the environment either, especially on the mass scale to which these animals are being reproduced. And because of the deforestation, we lose a lot of our biodiversity. We lose a lot of animals, a lot of plants, and the Amazon and rainforests, things like that, they can't come back. They are a very deeply detailed and unique ecosystem that they may not come back, and if they do, it will probably take thousands or even millions of years for that to happen. So yeah, that's really sad. And obviously, again, like the fast fashion, these animals, these crops for the animals need to be transported because they are happening in the south. They need to be transported to the Westerners in the north because they are the primary eaters of this meat. Again, that's more fossil fuels, and yeah. So there's the deforestation, there's the gases, there's the fossil fuels, there's the biodiversity, there's the humans living there as well. Just for something that makes us unhealthy anyways. Personally, I stopped eating meat because again, kind of similar to the fast fashion workers, I couldn't, like I have pets, I couldn't say my cat has more worth than this animal I'm eating, and it kind of didn't feel right in my head as I was growing up and becoming more of my own individual. It felt wrong to me. So it was because I stopped eating meat because of the animals. Again, being honest, sometimes I have wanted to eat meat, and sometimes I say to like Sharav, he's just cooked meat, like that smells really nice. I wish I could have some, but I won't because I'm so into health now, and obviously from being a vegetarian, I learned so much about health after that. So that was two factors why I wouldn't eat meat again, for the animals, for my health. Again, I want to be a very good mother. I want to have a perfect body for when I do create my children. And that's something that I just, not even just myself, I don't want to create my children if my body's going to be kind of half toxic to them. And then I found about all the environmental effects of eating meat, and I just couldn't anymore. So it is a choice, and obviously a little piece of luxury for me versus my ethics. Like it's not worth it at all. But I do think it smells nice when people are cooking it. And yeah, but being a vegetarian for me, I think it's been very, very easy. Very easy. The transition to vegan is harder because, I mean, I faced a lot of opposition from my family and friends when I was going vegetarian. So going vegan as well, that kind of sets off alarm bells in people's heads. But, you know, you adopt things along the way. Dairy was really easy to cut out for me. It's just eggs now that I'm trying to cut out. And honestly, I don't really like eating them anymore. I'm getting the kind of same effect eating them as when I was eating meat when I was younger. Like, it doesn't really feel right. Doesn't really taste very nice knowing what it is. And obviously the cholesterol in it as well just means that I don't really fancy eating it. So that's the second biggest killer to the environment, which is meat, especially red meat, especially beef. Okay, the next one is plastic. Plastic doesn't ever really go away. It gets smaller and smaller and smaller until we can't really see it. And you think, oh, that's not a problem. But scientists have recently found that most humans have plastic in our blood. We have plastic in our blood. So that's really scary because obviously this has never happened before in humanity. And we don't know what kind of crazy health effects that's going to have. 100% definitely going to have some bad health effects because it's our blood. So it's obviously in our liver, in our kidneys, in our hearts. And obviously more and more of it, with plastic, you can't get rid of it. So it's going to clog us up more than fatty foods. And the main reason for that is because there's a lot of plastic in fish nowadays. There is a plastic kind of ball or clump in the ocean the size of the USA, which has obviously been over many, many years. A lot of plastic is non-recyclable, and even plastic that is recyclable shouldn't be an excuse to not buy it or to not reuse it. You know, I use Evian bottles, plastic bottles to have my spring water. My main priority is my own health, and I will not drink purely water with fluoride in it. So I drink spring water. Evian bottles I choose to use because they have 50% recycled materials in it, and they are 100% recyclable. So I always will recycle them. But like I said, I do drink fluoride water as well, but just not primarily. So I will reuse the Evian spring water bottles to fill up with tap water as well. And obviously to make iced teas, things, and keep in the fridge like that. But yeah, we need to be more aware of our plastic consumption. A lot of plastic is not recyclable, and it goes in landfill. And a lot of the time, plastic in landfill gets taken to the ocean through the air or through birds. So yeah, and even if it is in landfill, in 10 years' time, is the whole world going to be a whole plastic landfill site? The Lorax is a really good film to watch for that, and that's an old film now. But yeah, it still stands. Plastic is a big issue. Amazingly, companies, I'm so overwhelmed by how many companies have made a big difference and change recently towards plastic. McDonald's with their straws, I found, I mean, it's a tiny thing, straws really, but I found that really amazing because it's a big, big company. I didn't expect them to make a change like that. But the biggest threat to the water is fishing equipment and fishing nets. I've been a vegetarian for about 4 years, but I've eaten fish until up to very, very recently. And again, being honest, I still have fish every now and then. And the more fish we eat, the more fishermen need to fish, and the more nets that get left in the ocean, the more fishing equipment gets left in the ocean, which again can kill a lot of animals and diversity in the ocean. And the ocean is a big filter for the air. So again, we're losing the rainforest, we're losing the ocean, and our air is getting more and more polluted. But or not only that, we're giving more fossil fuels to the air through transportation of fast fashion and meat. So just something to bear in mind. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is palm oil. This is something I never really realised what it was. We hear palm oil a lot, but we don't really know what it is. It's in most of our products. It comes from palm trees, and it is responsible for 8% of the world's deforestation, because like the crops for the animals, you need space for that. People and companies also want space to grow palm trees. So you wouldn't think that's so bad, getting rid of trees to plant different trees, but palm trees don't really give us the same kind of oxygen as the other trees do, and they are being chopped very quickly, so they're not really given chance to bloom and give us that fresh air. And obviously, again, that's happening in the south of the world, which again will need to be transported, which is a lot of fossil fuels. And I made a list of things that include palm oil, and I was actually feeling a bit sick because it's things that I didn't realise. And that's exactly why I'm making these videos, because we don't know this stuff. So it's good to just know, and then we can make the changes as and when we see fit. Or we could go cold turkey and do it straight away, but it's up to you. I'm not going to force you. I'm reading this bit now, but palm oil is a big reason why rhinos, orangutans, elephants, and tigers are going extinct as well, because a lot of the land being destroyed to grow these palm trees is where those animals live, which is a big shame because they're completely innocent in this. And these are the products that palm oil is in. So it's in most lipsticks, it's in most pizza doughs, most microwave noodles, most shampoos, most ice cream, most washing powders, most margarine, most chocolate, most cookies, most soaps, most biodiesel, and most packaged bread. Which is sad, but now we're aware of these things, we can maybe choose an option which says palm oil free or no palm oil. And yeah, just be aware of it. So even just watching this video, you're doing something good because you're educating yourself. So subconsciously you will start making more environmental decisions. So well done, proud of you. So yeah, they are the main killers to the environment. Obviously there's things like pollution and fossil fuels, but every day driving your car in comparison to fast fashion and meat and palm oil and plastic is a tiny threat compared to that, to the environment. And I want to finish off with some companies which we can also look out for to boycott, which are the biggest single-use companies and biggest plastic producing companies, palm oil producing companies, inhumane behaviour towards animals and humans. So they're not nice people, really. So we've got Unilever, Nestle, Cola, Pepsi, P&G, Walmart, Danone, and also obviously all these companies are acting very inhumanely, and a big thing, especially in the East, in terms of fossil fuels, is coal burning, because there is a huge inequality in the world, and in the West, a lot of us have access to more environmentally friendly ways of heating ourselves, but in the East, there isn't. And I believe it's because we support companies which are inhumane, breeding more inhumane and inequality, and coal burning to keep themselves warm, to survive, is creating so much air pollution in the East. But there's nothing really they can do about it because there's this inequality in the world. So this is where we need to start being more socially responsible, because they're only in that situation because they were born there. And if we were born there, someone we loved was born there, we would want someone to help them. So just be more responsible, breed more humane behaviour, and it will spread. And quickly, I want to finish off on something you can do which can help, is using Ecosia. It is a search engine which produce all the profits produce planting trees. Search engines produce profit by you searching and you clicking on something. And about 45 searches on Ecosia produces a tree to be planted, which is amazing. You don't even have to change much. I will be honest again, Ecosia to me doesn't have as many links as things like Google. But that's because they're relatively small, and the more you use it, the more other websites will choose to pay Ecosia and other ads choose Ecosia. And then it will be a bigger platform for people to use. But I'll quickly get up now how many trees have been planted by just people using Ecosia. Wow, 66,962,046, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51. So yeah, I always use Ecosia first, and if I don't get what I'm looking for, then I move on to Google or another search engine. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching again. I am really proud of you for clicking on this video, especially if you've watched up to this far. It's a scary thing, especially to change our lifestyle and to accept that this is such a big thing going on that could kill us, and kill our children and kill people we care about. So I'm proud of you for clicking on this video, and I'm very grateful that you watched all the way to the end. Hi, I know I keep doing this with my outros, but I only had a few seconds left of this video, so I'm recording the rest on my phone because my SD card was filled up. But I know some people want to continue eating meat, but basically what I was trying to say is that if you know something that will help the environment but you don't do it yourself, tell people, because they probably won't do some stuff that you do to help the environment, but they might do the other things that you don't do, if that makes sense. So honestly, it doesn't make you a hypocrite. If people say it makes you a hypocrite, then F them, because we're the ones that are trying to save the world. We're the ones that are going to save them and their families. So just educate people. If you don't want to do it yourself, educate people. And then when you're ready to do it yourself, you'll know exactly what to do. So thank you so much for watching again. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy you clicked on this video. You want to learn about this. And just thank you so much. Bye.